Welcome back to Learn Economia. In this video, we are going to look at the demand for money from the perspective of John Maynard Keynes. In his well-known book, Keynes has propounded a theory of demand for money which occupies an important place in monetary theory. When I say monetary theory, the theory which deals with money. Okay. So it is worth noting that for demand for money to hold, Keynes used the term liquidity preference. How much of his income or resources will a person hold in the form of ready cash, and how much will he part with or lend depends upon what Keynes calls as the liquidity preference. Okay. So liquidity preference is something that means the demand for money to hold or the desire of the public to hold cash. Liquidity preference of a particular individual depends upon several factors, and the question why should people hold their resources in liquid form or ready money, it is something that is influenced by many factors. The desire for liquidity arises due to three main motives. First one is transaction motive, secondly precautionary motive, and thirdly speculative motive. We will be looking at each of these in detail. First of all, the transaction demand for money or the transaction motive. This leads to the demand for money or the need for money balances for meeting the current transactions. This is made by both individual as well as business firms. Individuals, when they hold cash, this is mainly to bridge the interval between the receipt of income and its expenditure. Or we can see that people hold cash for their transaction purpose because the receipt of money and payments do not coincide. Most people, they receive their incomes weekly or monthly, but they daily they make some kind of expenditure, and a certain amount of ready money is therefore kept by these people in their hand to make their current payments. This amount depends upon several factors like the size of individual's income, interval at which income is received, etc. Coming to the businessman or firms, you can see that these people, they keep their money with them. They keep some money with them, and this is a proportion of their resources in money form in order to meet their daily needs. They need money all the time in order to pay for the raw materials, transportation, wages, etc. It is clear that the amount of money held under this business motive will depend to a large extent on the turnover. Now, when I say turnover, we can see that the larger the turnover, the larger would be the amount of money needed to cover the current expenses. And it is worth noting that money demand for transaction motive, it arises primarily because of the use of money as a medium of exchange. So, whenever we say transaction motive, that means money is considered as a medium of exchange. And since transaction demand for money arises because individuals have to incur some expenditure on several goods and services during their receipt of income and this use of payment of goods and services, money held for this motive depends upon the level of income of the individual. You can see that a poor man will hold less money with them for transaction motive, whereas a rich man can hold more money for transaction motive. The demand for money is a demand for real cash balances because people hold money for buying goods and services from the market. The higher the price level, the more money balances a person has to hold, because then only he can able to purchase the goods and services which are needed. If the price level doubles, then the individual has to keep twice the amount of money balances in order to able to buy the same quantity of goods. Thus, the demand for money balances is the demand for real rather than nominal cash balances. Now, as per Keynes, the transaction demand for money depends upon the real income, and this is not influenced by the rate of interest. However, we can see that in recent years, when we look at the empirical evidence and also some theories by Tobin, Baumol, etc., transaction demand for money depends upon interest rate as well. And this is explained by the opportunity cost of holding money, and holding one's asset in the form of money balances has some opportunity cost to deal with. And the cost of dealing money, holding money balances is the interest rate, which is foregone by holding the money balances rather than some other assets. The higher the interest rate, the greater would be the opportunity opportunity cost of holding money rather than non-money asset. Now, individuals and business firms, they would hold some money balances, and they carefully manage their money balances through transfer of money into bonds or short-term income yielding non-monetary or non-money assets. Thus, we can see that at a real interest rate, individuals and firms will keep less money holdings with them. Okay, with that, we are moving to the precautionary demand for money, and this is holding of money in order to deal with the unforeseen contingencies in the future. People will hold certain money with them because they want to deal with some kind of unforeseen happenings in their future. For example, danger of unemployment, sickness, accidents, etc. The amount of money demanded for this motive depends upon the subjective factors of the individuals and condition in which he or she lives. Now, with that, we are moving to the third motive, that is speculative motive for money. And here, people relates to the desire to hold resources in the form of liquid form. Okay, in order to take advantage of market movements regarding the future changes in rate of interest. So we can see that the speculative demand for money is a function of interest rates in the economy, and money held under speculative motive, it serves as a store of value function of money, but it is a store of value meant for some other purpose or different purpose. The cash held under this motive is used for making speculative gains in the economy, and if bond prices are expected to rise, the rate of interest is expected to fall, and vice versa. If a bond prices are expected to fall, rate of interest is expected to rise. Okay, so nothing is certain in this dynamic world. As a result, we can see that businessmen keep cash to speculate on probable future changes in bond prices with a view to make profit. But even though this is their expectation, we can't make sure that always businessmen make profit. Now, if you look at the diagram given here, we can understand the role of expectations in influencing your investment and all, or speculative demand for money. So it says that given the expectations, changes in the rate of interest rate, less money would be held under the speculative demand or speculative motive at a higher rate of interest. The reason for this inverse correlation between money held for speculative motive and the prevailing interest rate in the economy is loss. It is explained by the speaker, and demand for money under speculative motive is a function of current rate of interest, increasing as the interest rate falls and decreasing as the interest rate rises. This demand for money under this motive is a decreasing function of rate of interest. Liquidity preference curve, it is shown as the LP. This is downward sloping towards right, signifying higher rate of interest, and lower the demand for money, speculative motive, and vice versa. Thus, we could see that at a high rate of interest, or a small amount is held for speculative motive. This because a high current rate of interest, more money would be held, or more money would be lent out using which are used for buying bonds, and therefore less money would be kept as inactive cash balances. With further fall in the rate of interest, money held under speculative motive increases, and this would increase to the extent of OM. Coming to liquidity trap, in the figure you could understand liquidity trap here. It is the region where the liquidity curve becomes flat. Okay, and it's a horizontal line beyond point E, and here we could see that it's a perfectly elastic portion of the liquidity preference curve. A very low rate of interest, people will hold at a very low rate of interest, people will hold with them as inactive cash balances all their money, and this portion of liquidity preference curve shows the absolute liquidity preference, which is known as the liquidity trap. And as per Keynes, it is because of existence of liquidity trap that monetary policy becomes very much ineffective to tide over problems like depression. But demand for money to satisfy speculative motive does not depend so much upon the current rate of interest. but it depends upon the expectations regarding future. If there is a change in expectation regarding future rate of interest, the whole curve of demand for money or liquidity preferences will change accordingly. Thus, if the public on cash expect or cash balance expect the rate of return to be higher in the future, then the speculative demand for money would increase and the whole liquidity preference curve would shift upward. Now, coming to the aggregate demand for money, when we say aggregate demand for money, we have to combine all the three motives: and transactional motive, precautionary motive, and speculative motive. So we can here we can represent transaction and precautionary motive as together. It is M1 plus M2. As per Keynes, money held under transaction and speculative motive is completely interest inelastic, and the amount held as M1 is for transaction speculative motive is mainly a function of your income. And on the other hand, as per Keynes, money demand for speculative motive M2 is a function of rate of interest. So we can see that MD is equal to L1 plus L2, that is, which represent all the three motives. Here L1 Y represent transaction demand, which arises out of your which is a function of your income, and L2R means the speculative demand for money is a function of your interest rate. So coming to the criticism faced by Keynesian theory of demand for money, by introducing speculative demand for money, Keynes has made a significant departure from classical theory. However, Keynes' theory of speculative demand has been challenged from diverse grounds or diverse angles. The main drawback is that speculative demand for money, in this case, people hold cash or they hold their assets either in money or all bonds. It seems quite unrealistic that people hold their financial wealth in some combination of both money and bonds. This gave us to go for portfolio approach demand for money, which was put forward by Tobin and Baumol and Friedman. Portfolio wealth consists of money and several other assets. We know that, and Keynes' additive form of demand for money has been rejected by many modern economists. It's been pointed out that money represents a single asset, not as several ones. There have been many other motives to hold money, but the same units of money can serve several motives. Therefore, money cannot be divided into two or more different departments independent of each other. Further, as it has been argued by Tobin and Baumol, transaction demand for money depends upon the rate of interest. So we have to understand that if income is taken as a proxy for wealth, then even speculative demand for money will depend upon your income. But Keynes has told that speculative demand for money is a function of interest rate, not income. So with that we end. Please like, share and subscribe this channel for more videos, and you are welcome to my Telegram group and Telegram channel to discuss your doubts and clarify the same.